What's going on, everybody? Hope you enjoyed your 4th of July celebrations. If you are continuing those 4th of July celebrations because you have this coming week off, good for you. It's the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Had a good weekend. It's nice to have off on Friday, even though the heat here in the Northeast and through most of the country was kind of crazy. 100 degrees. I felt well over 100 on a couple of days here this past week. And look, you can have as much air conditioning pumping and all kinds of other stuff. When it's that hot, it is very tough to cool off. So hopefully you are, whatever you were drinking, you are hydrating and doing the important things necessary to enjoy a good craft beer or whatever cocktail that you were enjoying at your 4th of July barbecues. Listen, we've got a great show for you tonight. Coming up in just about 20 minutes, Sean Torres, the man behind Kills Boro Brewing and Pizza Party, will join me from the Kills Boro Brew Pub. Pizza Party lineup, what breweries are coming, pizzerias that are coming, so much more. They've been open now for just a little over a year, and we'll talk to Sean about how the business is going, how things are moving along, and I cannot wait. If you have not secured your tickets yet to Pizza Party, you should absolutely do so because this event sells out every single year. It is taking place on Saturday, July 25th. It is noon to 4 p.m. It's 4 hours of unlimited pizza and beer, and it's going to be epic. I think the most breweries that have been at the event since it started, my God, is this year 6 already? It's amazing. It's amazing. All right, so we've got that. We'll get into all of that in a little bit. But first, we've got news, of course. Mark your calendars. Tickets for Analog A Go-Go from Dogfish Head go live Friday, August 28th. You get ready to turn it up the old school way at their one-of-a-kind celebration of craft beer and analog sound on Saturday, November 7th at the Milton Brewery. Stay tuned for the lineup announcements, featured vendors, and more. Again, those tickets go live on Friday, August 28th over at Dogfish Head. At some point, you know what? I think my wife and I might do this in the fall. We're heading back to San Diego in the fall, but I think we have to we have to do a little weekend trip to Delaware and hang and head to Dogfish Head, and hopefully we'll run into Sam and we'll have some fun and enjoy one another because Sam is just he is a delight to hang out with. He really is. Great stories. Of course the beer is awesome, but Sam will regale you with stories of things that he has experienced in his life of being being a part of a brewery for 30 years, and it's just awesome. So we got to make it down there at some point. Now, coming up Saturday, July 11th, which would be this coming Saturday, 1 to 6:30 p.m. It is the 11th anniversary of Screamin Hill Brewery. They're also going to have a 250th. Celebrating 250 years of America with antique tractors and cars, live music from the Williams Boy, Bullock Farms, famous apple cider donuts, and Sweet Caroline barbecue food truck and farm fresh beer grown right here. If you want to register your classic car or antique tractor, email Brett, B-R-E-T-T, at screaminhill.com. Some other stuff that they have going on Friday, July 17th. They have a meditative sound bowl experience in the fields from 6 to 7 p.m. You can there's a link in their bio on their Instagram and Facebook pages. And on Saturday, July 25th from 1 to 6 p.m., it's their annual Christmas in July celebration featuring the Mighty Tree Toppers, a summer Santa sighting, and their kids' toy drive. So lots of stuff going on at the farm all this month. Saturday, July 11th, though, is the big 11th anniversary, 1 to 6:30 p.m., and they're going to have antique tractors and cars as well. And live music, food truck, all kinds of good stuff. Brett puts out some great beer, and I'm hoping to get down there at some point this summer to hang over there because Brett does a great job with it. The farm is beautiful. It's great to hang out, but his beers are excellent as well. And listen, if you're over at Six Flags and you're hanging, it's a 5-minute ride from Six Flags. 5 minutes, and you're there. You can hang, drink some beer and hang out on the farm. Rohrback Brewing, marking 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence with something special. Brewed to showcase New York State's agriculture with locally grown ingredients, including New York State Mackinac hops and Pilsen malts, Rohrback American 250 Lager is out now. It's a 4.9% ABV U.S. semi-quincentennial refresher that is worth celebrating. Rohrbach was founded back in 1991, was the first craft brewery in Rochester, New York. And beyond the patriotic seasonal, they're highly regarded for their classic series staples like their famous Scotch Ale and Highland Lager. They operate a production brewery and beer hall in downtown Rochester, as well as a brew pub in Gates, New York. So check it out. The lager is out now. Speaking of a brewery that's done some patriotic beers recently, they recreated a recipe from George Washington. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, where if it wasn't for George getting dysentery, he would have never met Martha, and they would have never married, and she would have never been the First Lady of the United States. Think about that. Talea Beer, though, is opening a new tap room on the Upper West Side of New York City. It'll be happening this fall. What Now New York reported this story. The tap room, Talea 6th, will offer morning coffee service, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with beer service firing up later in the day. Leanne Darling, one of the co-founders, told the outlet, "We've been looking for a space on the Upper West Side since we opened Williamsburg. It's a very attractive neighborhood that doesn't have a ton of bar offerings in the same way that a lot of downtown neighborhoods have. So they decided we're going to open one. Kudos to them. Good luck. Again, very tough time to open a business, not only in New York City, but anywhere else. So I wish them a lot of luck. That'll be opening in the fall. As soon as we have the opening up details, we will certainly let you know. One of Washington, D.C.'s first black-owned craft breweries is going to receive the mentorship and financial support this year, thanks to Samuel Adams. Now, they do this every year. Brewing the American Dream, they've been doing this for quite some time now. It's the philanthropic arm of Samuel Adams aimed at providing mentorship and capital to food and beverage entrepreneurs nationwide. Each year, the Brewing and Business Experience-ship arm of the program invites brewers nationwide to apply for the chance to win unparalleled access to brewing and business resources from experts at Sam Adams, including founder and brewer Jim Koch. So one lucky craft brewer gets selected to come to the Boston Brewery, work side by side with a team of mentors, and collaborate on a specialty beer with Samuel Adams. The winner also gets to travel to the Great American Beer Festival to shadow and experience alongside Samuel Adams. Soul Mega, founded in Washington, D.C., built its identity around more than just beer. It sits at the intersection of craft brewing, music, and community building. Elliot Johnson founded the brewery back in 2011, honed his skills through pop-up tastings and community events, and then launched the brand back in 2017. Commercial distribution started in 2019. They've expanded throughout the Mid-Atlantic. They're in Whole Foods, Total Wine. They've earned a silver medal at the Tasting Alliance Global Beer Competition for their worldwide American Pale Ale. So at this beer bash in New York City, Soul Mega presented its Metropolis IPA, an American IPA with bright citrus and stone fruit notes, was clearly the hit of the evening. And this is something that Jim does every year, and he says, this is from Jim. He said, one of the things I love most about this industry is seeing entrepreneurs build something that reflects not just great beer, but a genuine sense of purpose. Soul Mega has grown from grassroots tastings and community gatherings into a brand that uses craft beer as a catalyst for culture, creativity, and connection. Elliot Johnson said it's an incredible opportunity for our team and a testament to the community that has supported Soul Mega from the very beginning. So in the coming months, Soul Mega will collaborate with Sam Adams on a special release beer and join the team at the Great American Beer Festival in Denver. This is awesome. I mean, good stuff. Every year this happens. I believe Flounder Brewing in New Jersey won one year and really spoke positive of the event. And it's great that Jim always does this. He always gives back to the beer community. So kudos to Jim and Sam Adams, and kudos to Soul Mega for being this year's award winner. The long-awaited arrival of Grimm Artisanal Ale's second location is, I believe, it is. I'm pretty sure it's open right now. This is from Chris O'Leary at Brew York. They did. They just opened a couple weeks back. They're on Vanderbilt Avenue between Prospect Place and Park Place in Prospect Heights in Brooklyn. The space formerly occupied by the restaurant The Olmsted, a leafy and polished long space fronted by a bar, features two-tiered backyard with covered and uncovered seating. The menu is a departure from Grimm's current food offerings from Lala's on the roof of their Williamsburg location. This menu opts for burgers instead of pizza, dry-aged steaks, roast chicken, beer-friendly appetizers like chips and dip, croquettes, and tallow fries, more curated beer lineup, less of a kitchen sink approach, according to Chris. like their main tap room, but there are still over a dozen options, and their house wines are also available for purchase. An added bonus, next door, Grimm Goods will offer beer to go, merchandise, and coffee and sandwiches during the day. This opening comes on the heels of the brewery's 8th anniversary of their brewery in Williamsburg a few weeks back. Grimm Tavern joins other beer-centric spots in the neighborhood, including Beer Wax and Beer Street South just down the street, and Farm One and Gold Star Beer Counter just a block off the avenue. So if you head over to Grimm Tavern's Instagram, you can get updates there. Kudos to Chris for all that info, and kudos to Grimm for opening up this second location here in a really cool spot. Again, Vanderbilt Avenue between Prospect Place and Park Place in Prospect Heights. I need a trip to Brooklyn badly to check out some cool stuff. All right, when we come back after a short break, we got more news and notes from around the beer world, including Gary Monterosso's weekly segment with us. It's the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Man, the heat has just been absolutely unreal. It's just been unrelenting. I'm a guy who loves the heat, and I can deal with the humidity. But this is stuff where it's obscene. It really is. And we've gotten through it. You know, the temperature it was a little bit better today on Sunday. And obviously it's going to get better as the week goes on coming up here. But, man, that was a brutal couple of days, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you made it through okay. And coming up in just a bit, Sean Torres, the man behind Kills Boro Brewing and Pizza Party, will join me from the Brew Pub. We had a great two-part conversation talking about Pizza Party, Snug Harbor, why it's so important for Sean to do this, breweries that will be attending, pizzerias, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a blast. And they just celebrated their 1 year of the Brew Pub being open, which is fantastic. So got a lot to get to, and we'll get to that in just about 10 minutes or so from now. But first up, let us do our weekly segment with Gary Monterosso. And in this one, Gary is talking about beer versus wine. Gary, take it away.
I'm Gary Monterosso for the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast. If you think beer isn't for you, you might just be looking at it the wrong way. Wine drinkers already have the tools. They just don't realize it. You love Pinot Noir? Try a Belgian double. Sauvignon Blanc? A crisp, citrusy pale ale might hit the same notes. The key is to stop thinking in styles and start thinking in flavors. Body, texture, finish. Just like wine. And here's the twist. Beer might actually be the better dinner partner. It's got carbonation, spice, sweetness, and versatility wine can't always match. The bottom line, beer isn't the opposite of wine. It's just another way to explore what you already love.
Perfectly said, Gary. I mean, you know, we've talked about this before on the program. Beer certainly pairs up better with food than wine does. And, you know, for the reasons that Gary said, the complexity of it, the carbonation, the spice, there's different things going on in the palate that complement the food. Perfect reason why Pizza Party is so successful, because you got light drinking beers, pilsners, lagers, to go with pizza, with bread. It works. And sometimes some of the breweries bring, you know, IPAs. They get a little IPA heavy. The lighter the beer you bring, the easier it is for it to go down, and it just pairs well perfectly with pizza. Good stuff, Gary. And really something we should explore more. In fact, if everything works out right, on next week's program, we're going to have a guy who is the king of mead in New Jersey, or was. Now he's a restaurateur. And boy, let me tell you, this man is a magician when it came to mead, and certainly when it comes to food, in my opinion. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't really confirmed it yet, so we'll leave it at that. And maybe we'll talk to him about, you know, the pairings of food and beer and mead and wine and all kinds of other stuff too. Got a lot to get to with my good friend, and hopefully we can get it done for next week's program. Now, Snallygaster 2026 returns for the 14th year, Saturday, October 10th. Interestingly enough, it's the same weekend as the American Craft Beer Festival, which is interesting. Now, tickets go on sale this coming Tuesday, July the 7th at 10 a.m. sharp. SnallygasterDC.com for updates and to purchase tickets. So it's 450-plus beers from 175-plus breweries on Pennsylvania Avenue. Unlimited tastes, live music, food vendors, shopping, kids zone, games, raffles for huge prizes, and so much more. It all benefits Arcadia Food, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating a more equitable and sustainable local food system in the Washington, D.C. area. Now, the Basilisk Pass is $150 per guest. It allows entry at noon for 2 hours of early and unlimited access to all the beers, ciders, wines, cocktails, along with a commemorative tasting glass. This exclusive ticket is in limited supply and is key to enjoying the rarest selections that may run out prior to the official 2 p.m. start time. The Basilisk Pass also permits access to VIP amenities, including private bathrooms and shaded seating areas. Now, if you want to do the general admission, that is $75 a guest. It grants entry to the festival at 2 p.m., along with commemorative tasting glass and unlimited beer, cider, wine, and cocktail tastings all day long. Again, if you want the rare beers, and the rare beers are usually gone by 2 p.m., you want to get that Basilisk Pass, but they're limited. So just be forewarned about that because it could sell out. I would love to go to this year. I don't think my wife and I are going to be able to get to it, but I am planning for next year to be there because I've heard such great things about Snallygaster. And it's great. They shut down a couple of streets in Washington. You get to walk around. Again, and it's weather permitting. If it rains, they still hold the event. So that's one of those things you have to watch out for. Now, Ballast Point. We hadn't talked about Ballast Point in quite some time. They closed their San Francisco brew pub in Mission Bay on Monday. This past Monday. The statement says, we're grateful to everyone who visited, shared a beer, celebrated milestones, and made this location part of the local craft beer community over the years. Thank you for your support and for the memories we've made together. That was from a post on Instagram. I didn't think Ballast Point was still relative anymore. I know that, what was it, Kings and whatever took it over, and then they're trying to revitalize the brand, but that's basically all I heard about it. So it'd be interesting to dive a little deeper into this. And there was a story I was going to talk about, great beer cities to go to, and the guy selected San Diego as one of them, but then he mentioned Ballast Point as a place to go to. And I was thinking to myself, there's a lot of other great places in San Diego than Ballast Point. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Conclave is celebrating their 11th anniversary. That's taking place this coming Saturday to July the 11th. It starts at 1 p.m. They'll have live music, beer releases, games, and food by Chef's Bistro. I may try and get to that. I know 2 Ton of 7 they're opening. I'm going to try and swing over to that, but I might take a ride up to Conclave as well on Saturday for their 11th anniversary because they put out great beer. And, I love those guys, and it's been a while since I've been there, so maybe it's time to head over and have a couple. Maybe I can drag a few friends along, too. Okay, finally, last thing before we get out of here and take a break, and then we'll do our two-part interview with Sean Torres from Kills Boro. Collingswood Township could end their dry town status. Now, this is from the Philadelphia Inquirer and Lacey Latch. The 3-person Collingswood Board of Commissioners has been discussing whether to lift the longstanding restrictions on liquor sales as a new revenue source and a way to bolster the local restaurant industry. They would be able to, if this passes, they'd be able to permit 4 retail consumption licenses that permit restaurants and bars to serve alcohol, and or 1 distribution license for a liquor store within borough limits. If liquor sales are eventually permitted, the borough could receive anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 annually through licensing and renewal fees. Collingswood traces back to their Quaker roots and has prohibited alcohol sales by ordinance since the 19th century. A change to the policy would require public approval through a referendum during the November general election. They would have to adopt a resolution by August 21st so that the Camden County Clerk's Office has enough time to add the question to the ballot. In order to adopt the resolution, at least 15% of voters who participated in the last general election must sign a public petition in favor of putting the question on the ballot. So once that's done, then repealing any restrictions would be relatively easy. If voters approve lifting the ban, The borough could either award licenses in a competitive bidding process, which could generate one-time revenue for Collingswood's budget, or enact an application and review process that includes annual fees and public presentations by prospective licensees. But if the measure were to fail on Election Day, Collingswood would be barred from holding another referendum on alcohol sales for 5 years, according to state law. There's been some talk. Yeah, it's a good idea. No, it's not a good idea. I hope that they get it and get it on the ballot so that this way the voters can decide. That's the way to do it, in my opinion. Maybe not so much for other people, but, South Jersey is a bit of a desert for certain things. This happens to be one of them. So let's see what happens. As we get more information, we will certainly deliver it to you. Coming up next, though, I'm going to deliver to you the final two segments of the show with Sean Torres, the man behind Kills Boro Brewing and Pizza Party. He's going to join me from the Brew Pub, an interview I taped this past Wednesday. Stay tuned for that. It's the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Of course, you can follow me on X at Al Gattullo, and I'm now like a member now. I have that little blue check mark. All it means is I can write a little bit more. Who cares? Instagram at Gattullo, G-A-T-T-U-L-L-O, Facebook.com/AG Craft Beer Cast. Of course, we're on iTunes. You do a search for AG Craft Beer Cast. We're on Amazon as well. You can catch us on iHeart, Odyssey.com. And we're also on the Hopped Up Network. Go over to the hoppedupnetwork.com. You can check out the podcast version of this show literally 5 minutes after the live show ends at midnight at 12:05. You can download and listen to the entire show at your leisure. My next guest, friend of the show, is Brewery on Staten Island, of course, one of my favorites. I'm actually here with my son, who loves the pizza here, and we're talking all about pizza and beer. The pizza party is taking place at Snug Harbor Saturday, June 25th from noon to 4 p.m. right next door. Killsboro.com is the website where you can purchase tickets. The event will definitely sell out. Don't wait until day of. I'm telling you, you will miss out on a fantastic event. Let me welcome back to the Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer, Sean Torres. Sean, how are you?
Good. Doing all right.
I'm going to get to the breweries that have been announced so far in a moment, but obviously the usual suspects of pizza places that'll be here, like Lee's Tavern. You guys, of course, representing Staten Island. There was a vegan pizza last year. Any surprises pizza-wise that we can talk about that will be making an appearance?
Nothing confirmed yet. So we do have one or two pizzerias that we've invited that they're trying to work out that I am hesitant to announce, mainly because it's a lot easier for a brewery to kind of pop in last minute, but for pizzerias, they have to staff it, they have to bring the equipment over, so TBD, but the lineup of usual suspects should be there, with the exception of Bodega. They won't be attending this year. That was the vegan option, so we're seeing if we can have one of our other pizzerias provide something for that group of people.
Yeah, because it is a difficult process to be making pizza outside, depending on the elements. If it's too hot, the oven gets too hot, so there are considerations there, but every year that you guys have been doing this, and this is year number 6, right, of this event. So everything that comes out always comes out great, and the pizzerias do such an amazing job. And it's unlimited slices. You just keep going over and keep having a slice, 2 or 3. My son will probably end up eating probably 2 pies at this point, the way it's going, because it was his first time last year, and he had a blast. As for the breweries, a lot of brand new faces at the event. Last year you had around 30 breweries, and I am sure that you're going to be exceeding the number by a little bit. Names like Human Robot, Wayward Lane, Autodidact, all making their first appearances this year. Who's the one that you're most looking forward to that will be attending?
It's funny because as far as quality of beer, I feel like all the breweries are, equally matched. They're making some amazing stuff. There are some brands that I'm not as familiar with their beer just from a proximity to our brewery regionally. And, one are some new friends at Skinny Flower. Which they will be attending, and I'm looking forward to acclimate and get a little more familiar with their full lineup, or at least what they bring to the event. So very excited for them. In addition to everyone that you had mentioned.
Yeah, Jim has a really great space. And my cousin literally lives across the street at the condos, so it's a nice, convenient, hey, I'm over at Skinny Flowers, and she runs over, and we have a couple of beers. Great little spot in Monmouth County where they're building the Netflix facilities. We're talking with Sean Torres, the owner and brewer of Kills Boro Brewing on Staten Island. Pizza party taking place at Snug Harbor, right next door from the brewery here, Saturday, July 25th from noon to 4 p.m. Killsboro.com is the website to purchase tickets. They are going fast. We're here on the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970. The Answer. Proceeds for the event going directly to Snug Harbor. Will there be merchandise for sale like T-shirts and glasses at the event or online?
Yes, absolutely. This year, all guests will actually get a glass, which is new for the event. We've left it to plastic cups because we want to respect our neighbors next door in Snug Harbor. We didn't want to really leave or create opportunities for people to leave glassware behind. But, so many years in, we're confident that our attendees are incredibly respectful, and they have been, and it's been such a cool, chill event. So we've decided to include glasses in the ticket price, which is great. But in addition to that, we will have shirts, hats, and other merchandise available for sale, as we usually do every year.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, you're right about it being a chill event. And a couple of people that came last year for the first time, they all said the same thing to me. They were like, this is awesome. Why don't more breweries sort of collectively get together and do something like this? It is like Chris O'Leary and I were just talking about it a couple of weeks ago. He had been talking about it for years. Last year was his first year that he came to the event. And he was like, why have I missed this every year? And then, of course, he's missing it this year because he's got something planned. And he said to me, he goes, this is just an amazing event. You sit, you walk around, you have a beer, you talk to a few people, you have a slice of pizza, you sit down. I don't think I've ever been, in all the years that I've been going to beer events, I don't think I've ever gone to an event more chill. Like you would expect, and there's music and, all the other things, but it is a very laid-back atmosphere, and I think that's what you wanted to create from the very beginning, and it's extended the entire way.
Yeah, it's funny. We were just talking about this yesterday too, because we attend, participate, and are guests of Beer Fest every year, and they're always awesome. I mean, Wayward Lane just took over Log Jammin', right. Which is amazing, and Human Robot was running that in subsequent years, and there was a lot of fun. And for us, we kind of weighed a few different things. We're on Staten Island. What can we do to draw people to take the boat over? I call it Narnia. We're like it's
the
where
land of misfit toys.
Exactly, a distant land. And so we wanted to advertise and build an experience that would be a new vehicle for people to come. And for a lot of beer fests, you kind of have your checklist of, I got to get these beers from these breweries. Whereas here, we're like, I know a bunch of people who come to Staten Island have only ate the pizza. And using that in the beginning as a driving force to get people here, and then realizing the outdoor space, the event being built for breweries to enjoy. Every brewer that I speak to says it's one of their favorite events because they kind of just chill and hang out, and they usually come with their families because it's also family friendly. And so over the years, these different elements started to shape the event as a relaxing picnic style. It's not a race to get drunk because obviously alcohol is involved, and that's something you can't avoid. And so people tend to sample responsibly, and the breweries are all having a good time. And we've added some water activities in recent years. So I think the combination of all that stuff has really rebranded it away from a beer fest and just more as like a picnic-style gathering of like-minded individuals.
That's the perfect way to describe it. We're talking with Sean Torres, the owner and brewer of Kills Boro Brewing on Staten Island. We're here at the brewery right now. My son is getting ready to enjoy some pizza. The pizza party taking place at Snug Harbor on Saturday, July 25th from noon to 4 p.m. Jack, dig into that pizza before it gets cold there. That's the Italian in me. Noon to 4 p.m. on Saturday, July 25th. KillsBoro.com, the website to purchase tickets. They are going fast, and it will sell out. And it is family-friendly as well. If you want to bring the kids, you're certainly welcome to do that. We're here on the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. And as usual, entertainment, a DJ spinning tunes for you to groove with while eating delicious pizza and drinking awesome beer. Talk to me a little bit about DJ Adam Baum and the styles of music he's going to be spinning Saturday, July 25th.
So we're always excited to have Adam join us to handle the entertainment. We brought him on, I want to say 2 years ago. And I met him while he was spinning at a mutual friend's birthday party. And at one point, I was with my other friend who attended with me, and I just turned to him and I said, I got to get this guy to DJ at the bar or do something, because his selection and curation of vinyl is very thoughtful. It's very meticulous. And everything's woven together in a fashion that just creates such a chill vibe And he knows how to respond to, guests at the pizza party, but even in these other atmospheres and environments as well. I'm noticing that he's been doing a lot more breweries, which is great, and I'm super excited about because he's just such a talented individual. So, his selections are a lot of instrumental, a lot of old school hip hop, some deep cuts of, I guess lo-fi vibes, but that's really only what I've experienced at Pizza Party because I believe that's what he's curated for our event in the past. But as far as just as a DJ, has a very wide range, and his talents know no bounds when it comes to his musical selection. Nice. So very excited to have him back.
Awesome. Can't wait for that. Now you send out invites every year to Pizza Party to the various breweries and the pizza places. Who's the first brewery that answered yes, and was it within seconds of you sending the text or email?
The first brewery, I don't recall, and that's not me even being diplomatic, because I think we had about 10 breweries respond within 5 minutes of me sending the email out. And it's always greatly appreciated, and it's the usual suspects, of course. The 6-timers, I guess, at this point.
Right.
So it's they're excited, and it's funny because every year that list of quick responses goes up because we try to add more breweries, and those breweries are like, so excited that you had us on board. We do have a few every year. We struggle with the fact that we are a summer event, and their travel does create some. So we do have more breweries this year that won't be joining us, that are very bummed, that will be joining us next year. So there might be a handful that people will recognize not being with us, but it isn't lack of invite. It's just scheduling gets a little difficult.
Sure, that's totally understandable. Sean Torres is the owner and brewer of Kills Boro Brewing here on Staten Island. He's my guest on the Craft Beer Cast. The pizza party is taking place in Snug Harbor on Saturday, July 25th, noon to 4 p.m. KillsBoro.com is the website where you can purchase tickets, learn more about the restaurant itself. We're going to take a quick break. Final segment of the Al Gattulo Craft Beer Cast is coming up in just a few moments. Stick around with Sean and myself right here on AM 970, The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Final segment of the program here on this Sunday night. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend, especially with all of the heat out here. 100-degree days, a couple of days in a row, and of course, 4th of July was not pretty as well. But right now, we are here with Sean Torres, the owner and brewer of Kills Boro Brewing on Staten Island. Pizza party, of course, taking place Snug Harbor, the 6th one, by the way, Saturday, July 25th from noon to 4 p.m. KillsBoro.com is where you can purchase the tickets. You can learn more about the brewery and restaurant, which is phenomenal, by the way. If you have not been to this restaurant, you should be here. Let me put it to you this way. For folks in Jersey that are listening, if you've been to Ava's Kitchen in Kenilworth, come to Kills Boro and experience similar type pizza in a great place with an awesome atmosphere and awesome beers. You will not be disappointed. Now, Sean rejoins me on the program here. You've been brewing at the new facility for just over 3 years now, but you recently celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the restaurant taproom. What has this year been like for you, getting the business opening and welcoming so many people in to see what you guys have put together?
It's been crazy, but in, I guess, the best way possible. We didn't know what to expect as far as what New York City or Staten Island what their response was going to be like with the taproom opening. We have a very ambitious food program. Our ambiance is a little unconventional from an American brewery standpoint. Mm-hmm. I tell a lot of people, if you go to breweries in Germany, it'll probably seem very familiar. But we didn't know what to expect, and we couldn't have asked for a better response from both the local community and the greater New York City area. We're getting a lot of foot traffic. We're getting a lot of planned visits, and people are coming for a little bit of everything. Food, and our food program has a dinner menu, a pizza program, a homemade pasta program, a lunch program. So even in itself, that has a variety of experiences for guests, but in addition to that, we also have the bar program, which is a full bar, so it's not just beer. And in all of that, we thought the beer might get lost, and it's our number one seller. We truly couldn't have asked for a better response from the community. And then as the year has gone on, we've been able to add additional experiences like jazz nights on Wednesdays. We have a DJ coming on Friday nights to kind of extend the night for guests, and then we have our assortment of sporting events. The Knicks obviously killed it, and regardless if the taproom did well or not, I'm just happy that they won. But between sporting events and holidays, it's just been great all around.
Yeah, and now the World Cup, of course, is on and going strong. We are actually taping this before the U.S. takes on Bosnia-Herzegovina tonight on a Wednesday. They're knockout opponent, so we don't know at this point if they've won or lost. How has business been since the games started? Are you seeing an uptick of people coming in to watch the games? Because there's been so much talk of some businesses in New Jersey not getting business because of the fact the World Cup was going on. Bolero Snort was one of them. They thought they were going to get a crushing amount of business, and they found nobody has been coming because they've avoided the area. New York City has done very well in a lot of places. How have you guys done since the World Cup started?
We've definitely are noticing an uptick. Not as steep as the Knicks. That was just an incredible turnout for almost every game. But the World Cup is sort of this passive experience happening in the background, and lunch seems to be pretty steady as it always has been. But our evening audiences, it ebbs and flows, and it really just depends on the game. USA, we've had some good turnouts. Of course, tonight I expect a decent turnout considering it's the timing of it. 10 p.m. games on a Thursday don't really do as well as or was that Friday night? Either or, the last one that we had. But we've definitely noticed some success from the World Cup.
That's good. We're talking with Sean Torres, the owner, brewer of Kills Boro Brewing on Staten Island. Pizza Party is coming up on Saturday, July 25th from noon to 4 p.m. KillsBoro.com is where you can go and purchase tickets. Or if you're on Eventbrite, just do a search for Kills Boro. You'll find Pizza Party right there. Click on it and get those tickets. Now, you have a mug club here that you started shortly after you opened. How has that been received? What do you get for the purchase price?
Yes, so it's received well. We still have spots open for guests that do want to join. And it's you pay. It's good for a year. So it's an annual subscription. You get a discount on all events. You get a discount on merch. You get a Schnitt pour, one free Schnitt pour every day of the year. So if you wanted to take advantage of 365 Schnitt pours, you certainly can. Although I could tell you the average is probably one a week. But you get that. We are working on putting together a Mug Club only event that is free for Mug Club members, so that should be announced shortly. And we do a Mug Club mixer every month. It's the first Monday of the month, and that allows Mug Club members to come by. They enjoy pizza on the house, and I believe 1 or 2 varieties for free. So it's like it's a nice little private experience and allows them to sort of meet each other, socialize, and recruit additional members. So anyone that's interested in joining the club, they can either pay an access amount for the day's mixer, or they could just buy the membership day of, and they get to enjoy the mixer complimentary.
Now that's really cool. I mean, if you're here on Staten Island, I mean, for people traveling from Jersey, maybe it's a little bit much for some people, but I think it is certainly worth it for the experience that you get and all of the add-ons for the purchase price. I think that's fantastic. Now, any new beers or returning beers being released in the next few weeks?
Yeah, so we're really excited about Day Tripper, which is one of our German Pilsners. We sort of hang our hat on the Pilsner experience, especially the German Pilsner experience. Day Tripper features Hallertau Mittelfrüh and Tettnang from Lockerhofen Hops, which is our German hop provider for all of our continental varietals. And very excited. We were drinking it off the tank yesterday, and we had to stop because then we won't be able to release anything for our guests. We also just released Blackwoods, which is our homage to Rothaus. So very exciting. If anybody's out in the market, definitely grab that. I think we've done a pretty good job at paying homage to that style. And we also, I'm very excited because we were drinking them off the tank as well yesterday, a Märzen and our Oktoberfest, which we will be releasing in close proximity because the Märzen is our 9th anniversary release, and Oktoberfest is obviously our annual release. So we're sort of releasing them like a pseudo pair, and both are drinking exceptional.
And that should be coming out when? Probably August?
Well,
maybe July.
So Oktoberfest we try to release end of July because of how quickly it's been moving. We brewed more of it and giving it a longer sort of runway for guests to be able to purchase it, because ideally we would like that to come out of cycle at the end of September. So end of July to end of September is Oktoberfest, and then Märzen is probably will go into October.
And for those that don't know, Staten Island used to be a hub of brewing activity. People forget. Patricia Solomon, a great author from Staten Island, has written a book about Staten Island breweries and the history of brewing on Staten Island. And she talks about I've had this book for 4 years now, and I've yet to interview her on my show, and I really need to do that. But the interesting thing that she pointed out, there was an entire community built around beer here on Staten Island, and a lot of it, obviously, a German, Dutch influence. And you have sort of picked up the ball on that to continue that German influence on Staten Island. The amount of Pilsners and lagers that you have. I mean, you guys were known in the beginning for your IPAs and knocking it out of the park. But you have really established yourself as sort of the premier Pilsner lager brewery of Staten Island, certainly, but maybe in the 5 boroughs as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, and I have to give my team a lot of credit. They've been doing a lot of homework and work to build the right relationships and make the best beer. Our head brewer, Kevin, has really been, really digging deep on that. So kudos to him and his team. But, that's sort of what our aspirations were, even in naming the beer. So Kills Boro, while Kills is a Dutch word, was actually sort of it's a rift off of that German brewing history here on the island, because we saw an influx of German migrants preferring to settle in Staten Island in the middle of the 19th century, because our geography and our runoff water was very similar to their southern brewing practices and their geography down there. So waters are very similar, water profile is similar, and the hilly geography allowed them to lager their beers in the right environment, because lagering beers requires cooler cellaring temps versus ales are a little bit more warmer. So we named the brewery Kills Boro because all of that runoff water would end up in the various kills of Staten Island. And to start 9 years ago and have that history built into the name, but also make IPA, sour, stouts, and not focus on lagers, always felt, like, at least for me, in my position for the brand and what we were trying to do, like, well, one day we'll get there. Right. So when we were building out the new facility in 2020, between 2020 and 2023, the first thing we did was purchase lagering tanks, because we knew this is where we wanted to be. Right. Here we are 6 years later after that initial beginning of build-out, and I'm happy to say that the majority of our releases in our portfolio is, realizing that sort of dream and aspiration.
And it certainly shows. And if you are a fan of lager and Pilsner like I am, this is the place to be. Last question for me. 6 years of hosting Pizza Party, and honestly, Sean, and I say this to you every year, you do an amazing job putting this whole thing together. The donations to Snug Harbor, everything about it is fantastic, and I love coming. It's the event I am so happy to buy a ticket for. My son is now experiencing it now for the second year in a row. We have a great time. Why is it so important for you to give back to Snug Harbor Cultural Center?
For a number of reasons. First and foremost, being good neighbors should be something we always all aspire and try to be, because who do we have but each other when it comes to life in general. But also they're a great organization. They support several nonprofits on their grounds: the Staten Island Museum, the Staten Island Children's Museum. They have Heritage Farm. They have the Botanical Gardens. They have they have the theater. So I mean, the list goes on, and they are significant from a culture building perspective, an arts perspective, a historic perspective. So giving back to them seems to be just the thing that we wanted to do the most in working with them as a partner in hosting the event. Staten Island is known for the arts. It has had very strong musical scenes, art scenes, and it was important for us to give back, especially because we were planning to open next door. So they've been amazing partners. We see them often for lunch, which is great, and we couldn't be happier to be working with them.
Well, Awesome. My guest has been Sean Torres, the owner brewer of Kills Boro Brewing on Staten Island. Pizza party's taking place just a couple of weeks. Snug Harbor, Saturday, July 25th, noon to 4 p.m. KillsBoro.com is the website to purchase tickets. They're going fast, and I will be there, and so will my son. Come over and say hello if you end up buying tickets and coming to the event. Sean, thanks so much for joining me. Very much appreciate it, my friend. I will see you at the pizza party. My thanks to everyone involved in the show, as well as my guest, Sean Torres from Kills Boro Brewing, and, of course, last but not least, the great Buddy Watson. Back live on the Joe Piscopo Show Monday at 6 a.m. This has been the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970. The Answer. Cheers, everybody.